And turning now to Capitol Hill, where the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Dick Durbin, has invited Chief Justice John Roberts to testify in a hearing on Supreme Court ethics. The invitation comes after it was revealed earlier this month that Justice Clarence Thomas received undeclared gifts and luxury travel from a wealthy Republican donor. NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ali Vitali joins us now for more on this. Ali, good morning. So first, can you just walk us through what Senator Durbin's invitation says and why he wants Chief Justice Roberts to testify? How unprecedented is this?
Not very unprecedented. At least that's what Senator Durbin says in his letter to Chief Justice Roberts. Now, as of yesterday, our team asked Durbin if he had heard back from Roberts. So far, the answer is no. But to give you a little bit of a sense of why he wants to talk to him, you're right to bring in all of that context about what's going on with Justice Clarence Thomas and the allegations against him in the short term about receiving undeclared gifts from a high-ranking donor, but also prior to that, we talked often about the things that his wife was doing, potentially working alongside key people within the January 6th. People who were being investigated by the January 6th committee. And so Thomas has really been one of the focuses here just around judicial ethics broadly. Nevertheless, this is why Durbin says he wants to talk to the Chief Justice, saying that since the last time that the justice addressed ethical issues, there have been a steady stream of revelations regarding justices falling short of ethical standards expected of other federal judges and public servants generally, and that these problems were already apparent back in 2011, but the court's decade-long failure to address them has contributed to a crisis of public confidence, which Durbin says, as the status quo, is no longer tenable. All of this comes as the Senate is mulling whether or not to try to put more restrictions in place regarding ethics reform for the Supreme Court. Hearing from the Chief Justice might just be part and parcel to that.
Yeah, and Ali, I'm glad you read that statement from Durbin, right? Because it's a steady stream. These have been continuous questions around SCOTUS and ethics concerns. Yeah. With this case specifically, though, how likely is it that Chief Justice actually testifies? And if not, would the hearing still go ahead without him?
Look, it's unclear whether or not he'll testify. And as I mentioned, Durbin points out in his letter that this is not unprecedented in terms of an ask of a sitting justice. But I do feel that they'll go forward without him if they don't hear back from him, if he does ultimately decline this invitation. This is a hearing, I think, that in talking to senators in recent months, they are eager to have this conversation about judicial reform broadly. We've seen the court just take such a central focus in Washington and across the country, in large part because of the decision on Dobbs last summer. But since then, there has been just such an extreme conversation in Washington around the role of the courts, around whether or not things are tenable as they are. And from an ethics perspective, that's the central focus here.
And Ali, briefly here, what are Senate Republicans saying about this invitation? They seem a bit skeptical, right?
Yeah, they're skeptical. You look at people like Senator Ted Cruz, another member of the Judiciary Committee, saying in the halls of Congress yesterday that while he does think that ethics and standards are important here, he sees this as just a chance for Democrats to go after justices who they're not in line with politically. That's not what Democrats say, but of course Republicans going to use this as a way to try to make it political. And look, if this hearing were to go forward, I imagine that kind of posturing is exactly what we would see in the hearing room, not just in the halls of Congress.
You'll keep your eyes on it. Ali Vitali, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.